Welcome to PolyCast, an official podcast of Apolyton Civilization Site.
Daniel Quick.
Makahlua.
Imran Siddiqui.
Cartimandua. With guest co-hosts, Diamondeye, General W.
Then we don't have to think about it anymore for a while.
Then we don't have to think for a while while we do our podcast.
So in other words, business as usual.
On December 6th, at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, that's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 2008 Podcast Awards ceremony will begin over at podcastawards.com, where we will find out if PolyCast is the winner in the Best Produced category. We lost in the gaming category to a World of Warcraft podcast.
Bastards.
We're going to be gracious as defeat in that category, and we can...
No, we're not.
Yes. I will be gracious. Imran can do whatever it is he usually does.
You don't want to know.
This is episode 58 of PolyCast. This is the last regular episode that we are recording for the 2008 year, but there is going to be an episode 59. Episode 59 is going to feature full segments that we recorded for earlier episodes, but were cut and have not otherwise been put into any other episode. So it will be new to you, the listener. And then after episode 59, we hope that you will tune in for the Christmas special. It's not going to be as cool as Girls Playing Civ. We knew we couldn't possibly top that, so
Yeah.
we'll just admit this up front. We're not going to say what the special is about, but there will be a Christmas special, and it will be released on the 24th of December. And I guess it's fair to say at this point that, yes, the intent is that PolyCast will return for Season 3 in January 2009. Woo!
Yay.
Yeah.
If you're really worried that, oh no, between the Christmas special and whenever you start in the new year, I'm not going to get my PolyCast fixed. Don't worry. We will be releasing some specials of some sort in between there. So that way you won't be totally deprived during that period.
In news today, we talked about CivCon 09 and specific details regarding it.
In Forum Talk, we talked about things that defy logic in Civ 4 Call, not to be confused with things that defy logic on PolyCast, of which there are many.
And in the Senate, we talked about how much of an occupation army should you bring? None if you're going to raise everything. What's up with machine guns? Combat promotion versus city garrison versus the drill, and the unwritten laws about Civ 4 that you need to know.
Lastly, we talked to General W about EEN headline news.
Here's what's been making news in the Civ community.
Do you want me to do like a commercial for it?
Dun 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 dun!
Sure, whatever approach you want to take with it, I will probably support you on it.
All right, great. Whatever.
Probably.
Don't focus on that one word. There's a bigger picture here.
CivCon 09 was officially announced at the beginning of November. It's an event where civilization lovers and Sid Meier fans can gather to learn new strategies and techniques from professionals and mingle with celebrities of Firaxis world, as well as just get together, meet some of the people that they might have been talking with online. We've got some good plans involved to have gaming tournaments, some keynote addresses given by Firaxis people, breakout sessions from professionals in the field of gaming, development, designers, things like that. CivCon 09 will be held on August 7th through the 9th, 2009, in Hunt Valley, Maryland, which is being held there specifically because of the proximity to Firaxis. The general timeline will most likely be something like this, and this hasn't even been announced publicly yet. I think we're looking at the evening of the 7th, which is a Friday night, and we'll have an official welcome, but there is possibilities of some other things happening that day, sort of unofficial events. Gaming is sure to be going on that night, as well as some fun, different get-to-know-you things. Saturday, it will be an all-day event, literally from 8 in the morning till midnight, possibly, with speakers and breakouts and gaming still will go on. And then Sunday will only be a half-day event in the morning so that people can get home before work on Mondays. That's sort of the timeline involved, so if anybody is interested in going, they can get airline tickets now if they wish. That's ambitious. But we have had people ask.
There will be a specific webpage on the hotel. The hotel is the Embassy Suites, Baltimore North, Hunt Valley, in Hunt Valley. Amazingly, it's in the name. For you to register, because we have a number of rooms that have been blocked off and you will have a special rate. There will be a couple of different room options available. In terms of a PolyCast specific link to CivCon, we are hoping, and this is very preliminary, that as many of us 4 regulars here on PolyCast will be able to attend, and then we can do a PolyCast live. However, there are some people on the panel that are still not quite certain about it, so if you want to write in and call in and make that person feel guilty, please do so.
Wait.
Also, if you would like to sponsor PolyCast team to attend, that would also be helpful. Send all money to me. Oh.
If you decide to sponsor PolyCast, what will you get in return besides the satisfaction of helping us send it? Well, Mackie will say your name seductively.
No, I will not.
But Imran will.
Oh, wait. I will.
If you would like to sponsor the PolyCast team or a certain member of the team, we will invite you onto PolyCast.
Aren't you going to be sad when they decide to sponsor me more than you?
I don't really care. I have to go anyway.
In all seriousness, come to the convention already.
Yeah.
Well, it's next year. It's hard to be there already.
Just decide now, and then we don't have any problems.
That's right. Oh, I think perhaps in closing the segment, we should mention the other committee members. It's not just Annalee and I.
Right. That's only fair.
Annalee is our lead organizer, and if you're wondering what qualifications she has, people actually pay her to do this otherwise in real life, so that's...
It's surprising. It still surprises me.
In addition to myself, also from actually the Apolycon Host 6 team, we have Joe Stubby369 Matisse looking after our finances, organizing some events, as well as our information technology lead. Kenneth Stopperoni Liam, he's going to be looking after the convention website and assisting with both marketing and IT. And our marketing lead and liaison to the CFC community is Mythos, who has guested on PolyCast before. And myself, my official titles, if titles really mean anything, I'm advisor, and then I'm also the administrative liaison here for Bolton.
Dan is also the final word.
So that's again CivCon, August 7th, 9th, 2009, Hunt Valley, Maryland. Mark it on your calendars right now. Right now. Press pause on this PolyCast and go mark it on your calendar right now. We'll wait.
There you go. Yep. Got news? Email news@apolyton.net or send a private message to DanQ, Locutus, or one of the other news editors.
This is Forum Talk, where we investigate hot Civ issues in the forums.
Things that defy logic in Civilization 4 colonization, so says War Room. I think the game is great. Like anything I like a lot, I am still left not totally understanding it. His first item...
I didn't know we were supposed to, understand the game on a, higher level.
The first one he has on his list says, "No horses in my colony, just wagon trains. Hey, why can't I unhitch the horses from the wagon?" Well, one person points out different types of breeds for horses.
It's true.
Which I hadn't actually thought of before.
How does he build wagon trains without horses?
Yeah, there's the real question.
That actually came up in the thread, someone suggesting that you, in fact, need to have access to horses in order to be able to build wagon trains.
World builder.
Cheaters.
hey, this is war, the colony is at stake, I don't care how the horses were trained, unhitch them and put a man on them. To which Clethril says, the problem is that the wagon train only has 2 horses and it takes 50 horse for 1 dragoon, so you'd have to unhitch 25 wagon trains to get enough. Yeah, maybe that falls under the whole realism versus gameplay. Could see it being a mod. War Room had said that
Number 2.
the wagon trains all line up top to bottom, requiring you to unload them by holding the mouse key and scrolling up at the same time, and you can't just move a wagon train to the front, so you end up unloading the wagon train in the colony, then loading it on the ship instead of messing with slow scrolling as you drag items. One person in this thread responded to that, Thamus, saying you can load and unload wagons and ships much more quickly by pressing L for load and then select what you want to load, and shift and then the U key, holding down the shift key, for unload all.
Oh, there you go. That just increases productivity. 3 was Dragoon count against his independence count. And he mentions, go figure, I guess they signed up but don't believe in the cause.
And then the 4th one, a converted native can be trained in the village he just came from. So I guess they didn't teach him farming the first 23 years he lived there.
They could have taught him a different sort of farming.
Well, yeah, maybe they did. Maybe he decided he wanted to do something else with his life. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah, later down the threads, someone pointed out, well, just because they have expert farmers doesn't mean you got an expert farmer.
Yeah,
You could have been an apprentice for all you know.
exactly. Oh, you know what else defies logic? In his opening post, he says 3 things that seem to defy logic.
Then he has 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
War Room does say at the end that none of this detracts from the joy of the game.
Oh, how sweet.
Then stop complaining.
I kind of think it's funny what War Room says. Is it funny is population growth due to an overabundance of food? Because we all know that if you eat too much, a baby comes.
To which Godben then says, yeah, everyone knows that eating too much doesn't cause babies. Drinking too much does. I therefore suggest a gameplay change where an abundance of rum results in a new colonist.
Well, and here I was about to suggest the abundance of food is all the corn they made into moonshine and everyone got drunk.
Godvin says, come to think of it, all the colonists appear to be male, so I don't know how the population grows at all.
Who is it? The sugar planter is actually female. But that's the only one I've seen so far. I'm like, where did the girls go?
Oh, so that means, like, you can be like, hey, give me some sugar.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
Worst pickup line ever.
War Room, later on in the thread, says, hey, here's another thing. I put a free colonist into the university. Rightly, his bill comes due after he attended. Makes sense who pays for school ahead of time. And on graduation day, he gets to decide what his major was. How does that work? I guess he does a lot of reading that day. Yeah, so if we try to read too much logic into a game, then it's probably not going to be fun anymore or as fun. That's not to say that I think all of these suggestions are ridiculous and none of them should have some kind of impact, but...
They're horrible.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot. It's not always realism, but I think these are funny. So if you're doing it for the humor value, that's fine.
Good for you. But if you're serious about it, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well, I was trying to say it nicer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll be your translator. It's alright.
Oh, all the swear words I didn't say.
Welcome to the Senate, where we discuss game strategy.
I thought the Occupation Army thread was interesting. I remember that was one of the ones that was, when I made the jump from Civ 3 to Civ 4, was difficult to get used to, was the fact that you don't have to worry nearly as much about culture deep in the enemy territory. Once you realize that, it's a very liberating thing that you just don't have to leave much of a garrison behind in terms of culture.
I think it's important when you are going to be taking a city and capturing a city that in addition to your offensive units that you have some more defensive units, not only for the in-progress on-march defense on the way to the city, but that's so that you can leave, for instance, earlier on in the game, some archmen and then into the middle game, maybe some longbowmen and crossbowmen for defensive purposes, which hopefully have city garrison defense that you can leave there. And then you can have some other defensive units, such as perhaps some other archers or longbowmen that you can continue to use to help defend your offensive army. So in between the times when you are able to attack, if your offensive units aren't so particularly good on the defense, that at the very least, if you do lose a unit, it ends up not being your offensive unit.
Yeah, whenever I do a big invasion, I take along some defensive units, archers, longbowmen, something like that, with the drill promotions to guard the actual stack. And then I always send along some, depending on how many cities I have in mind to try to capture, at least that many city garrison promoted archers, so that I can leave at least one, preferably two archers in every city I take, just in case the AI gets... I've had it get sneaky enough times that I always find that it's kind of frustrating to take a city and get two more past it and then have them land some forces behind you and grab it before you can get back.
Holding troops, just to make sure.
Holding troops, exactly. Depending on how overwhelming my stack is or how well the invasion's going, if it's going really well, just one city garrison archer / longbowman seems to be enough. But if it's a tighter battle, I try to leave at least two.
And if you're on a rampage of taking several cities, the cities that are not so close to the front anymore, you can probably afford to have less defensive units in it. If not right away, then as you're expanding your borders and your front is now a little farther east, west, north, south, whatever it happens to be, then you could take, for instance, maybe some of the multiple units that you had defending the first city that you've captured, and you can move it into the second, because if the person that you are attacking decides to move in and try to take the first city that you took, it's going to take them a little while to get there, so then you would still have time to move it back.
Exactly. The only exception to that I found in Beyond the Sword is coastal cities, because the AI will make amphibious assaults now. Very annoying.
There's the easy solution to all of this. Just burn all the cities.
All right, Genghis.
Hey, if you're going for conquest victory, it's the quickest way.
In terms of an occupation army, that's also helpful if you have units that are damaged. Some units defending the city damaged because it will help them heal being fortified there, plus the fact that you probably don't want them on the front right now until they've had the chance to heal. So hopefully, in addition to having some good city garrison defenders in the cities in terms of your occupation army, that you also have some medics in there, at least one. Hopefully, if you take along 2 or 3, so then that way you could leave one of the medics, perhaps, in the occupying city, at least for a time. If you know that, in a few turns, there's a pretty good chance that who I captured the city from is going to try to take it back. But then also making sure you have enough medics for your occupation army. I would say that if you're down to one medic and you're deciding, do I leave it in the city that I have now occupied, or do I continue to have it in your stack? Continue to have it in your stack.
The best defense is a good offense. As long as you're attacking, things are always going better, in my opinion.
So truly, occupation army, how much is very situational, but I think it's also important not to just look at how many, but also in terms of what type. If you know, for instance, that, the person that I'm attacking has a lot of melee units, then, of course, your occupation army should hopefully have at least some, or even just one, just in case the civilization decides that they're going to use some of their melee units to try to take the city back, as opposed to going for your stack. So I guess for those who are really looking for an occupation number, if you really must have a number, the answer is 42. Next topic.
Yay!
I love these kind of decisions.
Yeah, if people are just desperate, if they have no idea what they're doing and just looking for some kind of rule of thumb, if you're relatively equal in strength to whoever you're attacking, you want 2 city garrison units per city you intend to capture and not burn to the ground. You're going to want at least 2. At least that's kind of the way I do it. If I'm significantly stronger, if I've got maces and they're still running around with axemen, or if I have longbowmen and they don't, then 1 per city is usually enough. As long as you're on the offense, hopefully you're not really doing much defending of your cities anyway. At least that's my rule of thumb, but take that for what it's worth.
Yep, and have it so that you have a sufficient occupation army so that to combat as much of the happiness issue as you can, and then also to avoid the possibility that the citizens could, revolt back and get rid of your occupation army. If you don't have enough in there, not that it happens often.
No, but it stinks when it does.
What's up with machine guns?
Yeah, machine guns. I love machine guns.
You like machine guns in the game, right, Josh?
Yeah.
Sure he does.
Just checking.
Of course.
Robbie04 says he's a new player. What the hell? What's up with machine guns?
Yes, they're a defensive unit only. They're great against cavalry.
Yeah, machine guns, somebody noted it in this thread that they have a relatively short lifespan, which of course depends on game speed and things like that. But for the window where they are active, they're really great. I have a buddy that uses airships immensely and to surprisingly good effect, and machine guns are the only way to deal with it.
Oh, yeah, 20% chance interception of aircraft ability.
Yeah, and that's something people kind of overlook on machine guns, but they are the earliest anti-air unit, I think. And they're really not too bad at it. If somebody's really pounding you with the airships, which is a pretty nifty strategy for people that have never tried it, I found out the hard way how effective that can be. But machine guns are a wonderful counter to it, and cavalry at that point are kind of the spearhead of a lot of attacks, and machine guns will eat them alive.
The fact that machine guns are also immune to collateral damage from siege weapons makes them a wonderful defender.
Oh, it's the difference between winning and losing.
Unless you really overpower your opponents, if you are attacking without siege weapons, you are asking for a world of hurt. But even if you bring them along, you encounter machine guns. Time to swear anyway. Or swear some more.
Machine guns for the window where they're alive, because you can't bomb them out very effectively. It gets very expensive to try to bomb them out from the air. You can't dig them out with siege weapons, particularly. You pretty much just have to bring overwhelming force and just eat it. But if you have to do that very many times, you can pretty much stop the attacker in their tracks, unless they're so far ahead of you that you're doomed anyway. If the game's at all close, machine guns, the more the merrier.
Yeah, what's that? You're going to try and come over my border with all your shiny cavalry? I don't think so.
It's especially fun if you're at a LAN party, so you can actually hear the descriptive language coming out of other people's mouths when they see all the machine guns.
Or if they're new to it and they see machine guns and they try to do I'm going to just siege you out.
That's right.
No way. That doesn't work.
Then they watch their dreams die in the flames of machine gun fire.
I like the tip that Blowpanzer notes, which is use the archery line to upgrade for machine guns, because while machine guns, for instance, cannot have the city garrison promotion, if you have them start as archers and then you upgrade them down the line, then they will.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never tried that.
I'd never thought of that before. Kudos to you, sir.
He gets a gold star.
It's very shiny.
Combat versus city garrisons versus drill promotions. Allspider wants to ask, which is the better out of the three when making a defensive unit such as archers, longbow, and musket? He's typically gone for city garrison, but he's not sure whether they stay in effect while bombarded, and wants to know the same for naval and for tanks.
Stewie369 notes that he rarely defends by sitting units in a city, saying it's usually better to move out and aggressively attack, and thus combat or drill depending upon the unit, and the likely aggressor is best. I'd have to agree with that. As a general rule, I mean, you still want some units with city garrison, but those should be units that you never use to attack unless you are really desperate. For those wondering, combat promotion, you're getting plus 10% combat 1 through 5. City garrison, of course, is plus 20, then plus 25, then plus 30 defense, and then the last one also plus 10% versus melee units. And then drill, we've got our 5 levels, and that goes from plus 1 first strike chance for the first 2, and then plus 2 first strike chance for the third and fourth. But really, what I like about drill is in the second and fourth, which is the suffering less collateral damage.
Yeah, anything that helps you avoid collateral damage is really good. As was noted in the thread, I think the drill promotions in general and combat promotions are superior, except for that handful of units that are really just, their job is to sit in the city and be like your insurance policy in case things go really bad. And otherwise, you don't really use them.
Of course, if your opponent uses cavalry, you can't use drill for anything. Most mounted units are immune to first strikes.
Which is why you don't want to exclusively rely on it, those combat promotions, and the things that the combat promotions give you access to. The plus 10% on its own, I don't think, is generally game-changing unless you just have evenly matched units. But the things the combat promotions give you access to can be a much bigger deal.
Absolutely. Love getting into Combat 1 only so then I can go over to, say, Shock or Pinch, depending upon okay, what type of unit am I really facing? I want that plus 25% bonus against melee units, for instance, with shock.
Yeah, because all those are enormously important, and that's mainly the reason, in my opinion, to get those combat bonuses. Because otherwise, drill, it's better to have the first shot at it, or even city garrison, it's a 25% bonus versus a 10% bonus. So go for the bigger bonus unless, if you know you're going to get enough promotion so that you can get it, actually specialize the unit and make it really effective.
If you realize that you are in a war and you need to just hold out defensively, then perhaps you should have a little bit of better balance in terms of city garrison, but don't forego having some units that also have combat or drill. Just because you might be on the defensive thinking, well, all I want to do is drive them away or kill them, just sitting in the city and letting them come to you all the time, there should be opportunities for you also to be out there and attacking.
The purpose of defense is to stall the enemy long enough so that you can get back on the attack.
All I have to say is drill, baby, drill. Unwritten laws. JP Jonesy thought he'd ask for some unwritten laws of playing Civ 4. Things you do 80 to 90% of the time.
You know, there aren't that many unwritten laws anymore for Civ 4 because now they've been written in this thread. Good job.
Way to ruin the mystique.
What do we agree with? Ming came up with the first unwritten law. It says cities shouldn't be working unimproved squares unless there's a damn good reason. And if you are, build more workers.
No argument here.
Absolutely.
Unwritten law 2, specialize your cities. Build only what you need in each city.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And unwritten law 3 is an interesting one. Build few, if any, wonders. Only build wonders that fit specifically into your strategy.
I build wonders because they're pretty.
And building a ton of cultural wonders when you're out for conquest doesn't help you that much.
Yes. Well, I mean, that depends. Would that fit into a strategy? If you're going for a cultural victory, build a lot of wonders?
Well, yeah, for cultural it would work.
Like, there's some wonders that will help you out in combat. Got Chichen Itza, which is good for defense.
The Great Wall, there's another one.
Even conceivably, the pyramids to allow you to get into early monarchy or police state even can sometimes be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an expensive way to do it.
Yeah.
If I don't have access to stone, it's just so costly in terms of opportunity cost that it's tough to justify. Unless you're doing like a specialist economy or something.
And hopefully, if you can, when you're building wonders and fitting it into your strategy, if they are wonders that fit into your strategy, but they're going to expire, build them sooner.
Right.
Just an idea.
If I were going to rewrite unwritten law number 3, I would just say avoid wonder addiction. Rather than just trying to avoid wonders for the sake of it, the main thing is to not get into the habit of just always building wonders if you can. It's to actually be thoughtful about, do I need this wonder? What am I giving up in order to get it?
And question, given your particular circumstance, even if your goal is, say, a culture victory in every game, perhaps depending upon your circumstances and the timing of things, you're not always going to go about the same path to the culture victory by building wonder A, then B, then C, game after game after game.
Right.
I like Roz. It's the economy, stupid.
More gold, good. Less gold, bad.
The second one is the Mackie strategy. Only keep enemy cities that will help you in some way. Raise the rest.
But it's true.
Though John C. Nunn disagrees with the raise everything strategy. Because he says it'll make your opponent delay when he'll talk to you. Sours the relationship further in case you actually want to have some sort of friendly relationship afterwards.
Well, if his name is Montezuma, that's not a problem.
It's just, again, it depends. If you're going for the conquest victory, then generally speaking, burning cities is less of a headache. But if you intend to just have a short war to get some more territory, get some resources, and then go back into build mode, it's almost always better to keep the cities.
Just remember to watch when you're thinking about raising a holy city. Take that in.
Yeah. Oops.
Never did that, really.
That's just giving money away.
Raise, raise, raise. I heard this on PolyCast. Oh, crap. You people suck.
Yeah. He raised the holy city for 6 civs religion.
I've never done it just out of greed, so I wouldn't even know.
Semi-one related to that from Pedro Jedi. Own...
Sorry.
I didn't come up with it. Your own religion is not better than the rest of the most. Join the herd. Well, assuming you can, of course. Nothing more frustrating than to realize, oh, this religion is across more than 50% of the map, but I can't switch to it because it hasn't spread to me. Son of a...
Yeah, that one is the one that's got me so many times I can't count now. It's like, no, I'm going to keep my religion. Wait, everyone else around me is something else. Well, fine, I'm still keeping my religion.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
The AI does not care about your uniqueness. Okay, get over yourself.
Yeah, but I play with all my emotions involved. I don't necessarily always play to win. I play to destroy sometimes. And to make me feel better about myself.
So sometimes you make yourself feel better by destroying yourself?
Well, my favorite... I'm just going to ignore that comment. My favorite strategy is to rush on my navy so I can get privateers first and then trash on everyone else. That's my favorite.
Privateers? What privateers? We don't own any of those.
I have no knowledge of privateers.
I have no recollection of that, Senator.
Pirate? What pirate? What?
Oh, that was the one remaining stack of barbarians on the map. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know because they were by me, not by you.
When in doubt, blame the barbarians. There's an unwritten rule of Civ. You didn't get the Pirate Uprising special event notice?
It pops up on my screen.
Later on in the thread, another one from Ming. Always bring more attacking units than you see in the city you are going after.
That's a duh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-to-1 minimum.
Although I suppose, maybe in a real extreme circumstance, like if someone's got archers and you've got tanks, well then,
Right.
maybe that one doesn't really...
If it's spearmen versus tanks, though, stick to the 2-to-1 ratio.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Headline News, which is being looked after by General W., the brainchild of Joshua Tucker. General W., I guess the first question to those who might be saying, what? EEN Headline News? What channel's that on? I only get basic cable. What is in fact the ENN Headline News, and how does someone go about watching it?
Well, it's just a thread that we have on Civ Fanatics, and we were playing a multi-team democracy game, so there's 5 different teams, and we're all playing the same game of Civilization. And it was kind of a way to try to propagandize the other teams was kind of the start. We decided that there's kind of been this tradition of making these little newspapers, quote unquote, to try to give the news from the different teams' perspectives. We decided to one-up everybody, and rather than just make a newspaper, actually go ahead and make a news broadcast. And so EEN, which stands for Eternal Eye News, kind of a mysterious cult kind of feel, along with actually just kind of being entertaining and trying to add value to the game. It was fun for me just to learn how to make the videos and try to progressively make them better and more interesting. And I think you kind of see some of that evolution as you watch the videos if you start from the beginning and work up. You can't get it on basic cable yet.
That's coming soon, though.
Well, you know, if I can find somebody to be willing to broadcast it, sure. Unfortunately, I don't think they've lowered their standards sufficiently on television, which is kind of a horrifying thing to say, but...
How did you decide on the general length of each episode? Was it just whatever amount of time you felt you needed to get across what you wanted to get across, or...?
The initial idea was that for something like this that's fun, you know, the attention span for something like this, you know, something for just our team probably could have been longer, but for stuff that we wanted other people, other players to watch, I knew the goal would be to kind of keep it around 3 minutes, and they kind of started getting longer than that. When I'd come back and watch them later, I'd think, yeah, this is too long, and so then in general try to keep it at least under 5 minutes, kind of became the new goal. And if you see the videos, you'll see they're all kind of around that, although there's 1 or 2 that are a little bit longer. And that was just because we were too clever for our own good. You know, it's difficult to cut out things when you're being that clever. So
Dan cuts us all the time.
It's true.
What I needed was a third-party editor who would be willing to apply the knife. But I recruited my teammates and other people to do some help with the voice work. I even pressed my wife into service on one of the videos. She does one of the voices. But otherwise, it's pretty much a one-man operation as far as putting together all the pictures and any of the sounds and then making the final edit. I did most of the script work and just would provide those to other people to read.
Which of the following would you say describes EEN headline news better? Humor with drama or drama with humor?
Definitely humor with drama, maybe.
That's the total opposite from PolyCast.
I don't know how many of you got a chance to watch the videos. The first 4, more of attempt at kind of a straightforward fake news kind of broadcast. And then after doing those, really left that format behind just in favor of kind of more just funny videos that were relating to what was going on in the game, various wars getting started mostly, and just kind of trying to set those to music and just be a little bit faster, just kind of fun, without all the trappings of a newscast. That progression just kind of occurred naturally as we went along. And they were easier. The other ones were easier to do, not nearly as much production on my part required, which as I kind of got busy, that became more appealing.
So these started about 2 years ago now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Before my daughter was born. It's kind of amazing to think about that. Since she's coming up on 2 now and we started playing this game, it's over now, of course. I got my start as a newspaper person in the original Civ 3 multi-team democracy game, at least the original on Civ Fanatic site. And after doing a whole bunch of newspapers, when that game ended, I got the idea to make a video summary of that game. And so I made that in 5 parts. And it's actually the videos that I've made that have been most watched on YouTube. They've actually got a surprising number of views, at least surprising to me since I only ever intended it for just the small community of people. So then I got some experience doing videos for that, and so when the Civ 4 multi-team democracy game started, then I started doing the videos for it. And they haven't been quite as watched, but still fun. People got a real kick out of them.
Here's a clip from the 4th episode.
The Hanging Gardens of Aloha are being decked out with 999 lights, with the 1,000th light to be illuminated on midnight of the last day of 999 AD. Even the fearsome Enovian camel archers have donned more festive attire in anticipation of the party at the pyramids celebrating the new millennium. So far, no sign of the expected chaos from world abacuses being unable to deal with the extra digit in every year. Here's wishing all of you the very best for the next 1,000 years.
And I notice at the end of each of the EEN headline news, we hear some clips from Monty Python.
That or The Princess Bride. I kind of alternate between the two.
And so was that an effort so that in case nobody thought anything else in the video was funny, that they'd be like, oh, at least they ended on
So you're ruining my little secret ploy. See, that's it. Figure if nothing else, they laughed at the very end and then would maybe have a positive feeling about the 2-3 minutes of their life they just wasted.
So for those who might want to be doing something similar to this, what would you recommend in terms of software and hardware?
It's not nearly as difficult as you might think. I actually have what I like to describe as no artistic ability whatsoever. And
that good?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, after seeing the videos, you know that I was... You didn't need me to tell you that. But all the graphics work, if I can even call it that, was all done in Paint.net, which is just free if you're not familiar with that program. It's actually a really great program and easy enough that you can have no skills and still figure out how to use it. And then I actually also use Windows Movie Maker, which just came with my OS. I hesitate a little bit from recommending it, end quote, because it crashes a lot. But it works. And obviously it gets the job done. And my only recommendation is that if you use Windows Movie Maker, save frequently. I use Audacity for editing in music and stuff.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and then, of course, YouTube. Just upload the videos there to my account, and that's it.
For those who are looking for future editions of EEN Headline News, what can they say and do to help you to see it return?
There will not be any more EEN news. That ended with Epsilon Team's victory in the multi-team. We crushed them. It was awesome. And so the news has done its job. We intimidated and demoralized our opponents. I like to think that was pretty much single-handedly my effort. And so now I've been making some videos just for, I actually just produced one for the second multi-team democracy game in Civ 3 that we have going on. We were actually just attacked by this evil other team. They're very horrible people, every last one of them. A nice little propaganda video that I just finished, actually. So you could go watch that one. Or for people that are into Civ 3, my original series of videos that I made, that I got started, the 5 chapters that kind of summarized our whole game, thousands of views on YouTube, which kind of amazes me.
Well, you see, Josh, that's just about 10 or 12 people watching it several dozen times. I didn't want to have to tell you that, but we got a good source.
That's how Dan pushes up PolyCast numbers. I'll listen to it again.
And so I plan to make more. I'm involved in a deathmatch game right now that I think I'll probably make some videos about when it's all over. Right now, it's very close. It's very tight, so I can't do anything that would reveal what's actually going on in the game. Same thing with our multi-team game, and we're getting ready to start Beyond the Sword multi-team democracy game.
So, rivalry.
It won't be EEN news anymore. If we start making more videos like that, it'll be, we'll have to come up with a new name for it.
Well, I must say, in conclusion, again, thank you, Josh, for making these videos. When I saw them, I didn't feel quite so nerdy, having done Age of Nations. Still nerdy, but I thought, there's hope for me after all.
That's right. I was still able to beg a woman to marry me and go on to have children despite this level of geekness, so there's hope for everybody.
Call in today.
In North America, the number is 301-637-7659. That's 301-637-POLY.
In Europe, 44121-288-7659. That's 44121-288-POLY.
You can Skype us at the PolyCast or email us at polycast@apolyton.net.
For more information on PolyCast, our sibling show ModCast, or about PolyCast in general,
Log into the series' official website at polycast.apolyton.net.
Well, I do have several thousand views on YouTube, so I'm practically a celebrity.
Can we touch you for a quarter?
Let me think about it.
We haven't talked a lot about multiplayer on the show. And, well, that's been because...
Nobody but me plays it.
Well, believe it or not, but that's no longer the case with me.
Oh my god!
I played a couple of games with Michael Lucas Smith, actually. We teamed up against the AI.
wow,
Do you feel special now?
good for you. Why wasn't that in news?
The second time we didn't use GameSpy, going through the GameSpy lobby, I kept getting disconnected every 5 minutes. It was very annoying, whereas the second time we just did a direct IP connection, and that was much better. I think I only dropped once. We had one out of sync. We played for 5 hours. It was a good game. We won. We won a domination victory. Augustus Caesar rating. As Mackie already knows, Civ 4 multiplayer is definitely not the same. I stopped playing so much like a single-player game the second time I played the game. I was actually able to contribute to the combined victory. As opposed to just...
Tagging along.
Thank you for listening to PolyCast, an official podcast of Apolyton Civilization Site. We've had with us today guest co-hosts Marcus Diamondeye Hensing.
Bye.
And Josh General W. Tucker.
I've really enjoyed this very much. Thank you all for having me on. I've appreciated it. Bye, everybody.
We've also had DanQ.
Hello and goodbye.
Makahlua.
Bye.
She drives me crazy.
Dan drives me even crazier.
Imran Siddiqui.
Bye!
And myself, Cartimandua. Bye.
I figured it's because we brought up math and we all had a fatal exception error.
Oh, that's what the flashing error screen means. Dang it.
We've all just crashed.
Boop. Reboot. reboot.
Try not to mention the M word.
Maki?
Yes, try not to say that one.
Well, I am a 4-letter word, aren't I?
Makaleka hi, makahini ho.
That fatal exception here took more of your brain than you thought.
Unrecoverable sectors? No.
Record date.
November 22nd, 2008.
Sound clips copyright of Civ 4, Warlords, and Beyond the Sword expansion packs.
EEN clip courtesy YouTube.
Copyright 2008, Apolyton Civilization Site at apolyton.net.